So let's work on this problem. It's a challenging middle school problem. Samantha and John, two siblings, shared the cost of a book they bought for their dad. Samantha paid three-fifths of the cost of the book with three-fourths of her money, whereas John paid the rest of the cost of the book with one-third of his money. If Samantha was left with $21, how much money was John left with? So let's start with the cost of the book. Now, I'm going to do this problem visually. You can do it any way you want. I'm going to do it visually. I'm going to start with the cost of the book. Cost of the book is going to be represented by this diagram. Let's make it yellow. Okay. So again, let's say the book is represented by these five squares. Okay? And the squares, each square represents a certain amount. I'm going to explain my picture in a second. All right, this is the cost of the book. Okay? Now, Samantha paid three-fifths. So Samantha paid, let's say, the yellow squares. And her brother John paid, let's say, the blue squares. Okay? Fine. So far, so good, I hope. What else do we know? Let me put my pictures here, if you don't mind. I'm thinking about how much room I will need around. And we can actually, so put a little vertical line here. But this is the amount Samantha is paying, okay, three-fifths. And this is the amount John is paying, two-fifths. Now, let's put a vertical line between the two. So we're going to look at Samantha's money. Samantha is paying the money represented by the yellow squares, and John is paying the money represented by the blue squares. Okay, what else do we know? Well, they're saying that Samantha paid three-fifths of the cost of the book with three-fourths of her money. So these three squares, they represent three-fourths of Samantha's money. Okay. So actually, guys, I'm going to put this here. I'm going to write Samantha here. Samantha. And I'm going to write John here. And I'm going to write John here. So, of course, the top line represents the cost of the book. Now, I want to find, using these three yellow squares, I want to find a representation for the entire amount of money that Samantha had. That has to be four yellow squares. Okay? Because three of them is three-fourths. So this must be Samantha's original amount. This must represent Samantha's original amount. Let's write it down properly. Samantha's original amount. All right, so far so good, I hope. What about John? John paid this much, I do understand. If Samantha paid three-fifths and John paid the rest, he must have paid two-fifths, which is fine. But that represents one-third of John's money. So if this is one-third, sorry, if this is one-third, I will need six such boxes to represent the entire amount of the entire amount that John had. And I have to squeeze. That's okay. I'll try my best. So this must be John's entire amount. The set of six blue squares must represent John's original amount. Must. That's how a third of his money was two boxes. Okay. For some reason, it won't let me move too much, but that's okay. We'll do something here. This is John's original amount. And you really want to pause at this point and make sure you understand what the representation means. Okay, now, if Samantha was left with $21, well, she had four yellow squares. She spent three yellow squares. She was left with one yellow square. That tells me one yellow square must be worth $21. We're almost actually done. Each yellow square or each blue square must be worth $21. Okay, so far so good. Now, if John originally had six blue squares, he used one-third of his money, which is two blue squares. He was left with four blue squares. Okay, he was left with this, and this. Each square that he was left with is worth $21. Four squares must be worth $84. So John was left with $84. I'm going to write 84 right here. And that's my answer. Finished. Take a look. Make sure you understand the picture. Is that the only way you can do this problem visually? No, you can do it in multiple ways. I like it this way. Can you do it algebraically? You bet.